Good evening. Welcome. My name is Kwabena. Welcome. I want to share with you today what I have termed give her attention. Prioritize the woman. Prioritize the woman. Give her attention. Prioritize the woman. I think there are about three very complex things that we deal with as humans all the time. One is our struggle and continuous desire to understand life beyond the physical. So there is constant attention that people give to things that are beyond the ones that we see. So the spirit world. Every society you go, every community that you go, you see that people are in constant search of something beyond life. Spirituality, things that we don't know and we don't understand. And then there is another one which carries a lot of emotions, just as the first one, which is money. People attach a lot of emotions to money and what it does to activities that we have to do with in this life. The third one is people are constantly searching for the meaning of life, of love, emotions to people who mean a lot to us. And I don't think there's ever going to be a generation of mankind that is going to stop looking for these three. Trying to search beyond what is meaningful, beyond what the eyes can see, or trying to put money into reason, which usually is not the case. And then our constant need for love and emotions, people who mean something to us. I think that because most people are in constant drive to achieve something with their lives. For instance, the business people are in constant need to achieve something with their lives. We tend to focus so much on the, thank you, madam, thank you, Auntie Fosti. We tend to focus so much on the things that are so much important to us. So if you're a young man and you are vision driven and you're ambitious, you may tend to forget the woman in your life, whether it's your mother, whether it's your wife, the sisters, the girlfriends. We may tend to forget that. It's a bit complex, the nature of the woman. And the thing is that if you grew up in Africa, just as I grew up, the things that we saw about what the woman, whether it's our grandparents, whether it's a mother, whether the women that we grew up with, or the ones that we grew up seeing, the way that they went about their life and the way the culture handled them, the way the men who came before us handled these women, they have had a huge imprint on our mind. For instance, I had my grandmother, my father's side, my mother's side, my grandfather had more than one wife. My grandmother was one of them. Now, my grandmother could go to the farm and, your grandfather will live like a king, so he's in the house, they put water for him, they cook for him. This is where we pick our understanding of women. And then when you go to church, you see, they say that the woman should cover the hair. The woman should not wear short skirt. The woman should not show hair, There were a lot of laws that were set for the women that we grew up with. Even our sisters, our cousins that we grew up with, when we were going out to play, they were told to be in the kitchen. Now, these are all things that affected the way we understand, or we grew up to understand, women. And then you grow up and they say that you have to take care of a woman from this kind of background. Now, it's not going to be simple for somebody like me, and majority of Africans are just like that. Our understanding of women, and even now, the things that we get to hear all the time. You know, you hear preachers saying the woman should be submissive. The other time I read somewhere, they say that if some of the young women, if they, you know, when they are young and they don't calm down and humble themselves in the latter part of their lives, they will get husband. You know, there's a lot of things, that's a lot of wrong information, I think, that have been put on the woman. Yes, the woman was not created and structured. If you look at the physiological and emotional structure, there are a lot of things that were not, that we have had wrong culturally, the way we have treated women. And so you see that the women in our culture live in constant pressure because of the way that we have tried to handle women. I wouldn't say that everything is wrong, no. I'm just saying that some of the things that we grew up with, that we are expected to do otherwise, is tough. It's tough for us, and we could not do better, or we cannot do better until we start to analyze and question some of the things that they have told us. So my name is Kwabena. I am talking about give attention, prioritize, because there is no point becoming so much successful financially, in business, in politics, in whatever that you do as a man, and the woman in your life, whether it's your daughter or your wife or your mother, whichever, usually is your wife, who will end up becoming frustrated because we had so much little understanding of the woman, or of women, or of the woman, and then we are expected to deliver to the satisfaction of these women that we have in our lives. It's tough. And so a little understanding of what they go through, a little understanding of the things that they appreciate and deem important will go a long way to help us. Because the thing is that if the people in your life are not happy, it will affect you. It will affect you. And yet, the little we know, or the cultural content that we have, is not helping us to really get along well with a lot of this. So usually the women are just the ones who are shortchanged in terms of what they have to stay with, what they have to deal with, because the men were trained and cultured differently, or were not trained at all. So if your grandfather had 2 wives or 3 wives and you are told to stay with one woman, what kind of knowledge do you have? If you were growing up, you went to the church, you know, they told the women to cover their hair. And I always ask myself, what is wrong with the woman's hair? What is wrong? They say that cover the skirt. I don't understand. Yet the man is barely, you know, bare-chested, and the man is treated as king, and the woman is treated as virtually a slave to a large extent. You went to the farm, the woman will be the one carrying everything, and the man will be carrying the cutlass. This is how they affected us in terms of how we understand and treat women. So if you're coming from this kind of background, you grow up, you have very little knowledge to handle the woman in your life. It could be your wife, it could be your mother, it could be, you know, your girlfriend. Those, how do you handle them? Because if you misunderstand them and they misunderstand you, a lot of your frustrations will come from there. You know, let's face it, if there is no peace at home, there's no peace at all. If your daughters don't understand you, if your wife feels that you don't understand her, and you don't even know that you don't understand her, you just think that because you are a graduate or you went to college, you understand women. You don't. You are just reacting with the culture that they told you. And so let's see what I have. I think that you should learn how to appreciate her. You should learn how to accept her. You should learn how to acknowledge her. That woman, it could be your wife, it could be your daughter. the emotions are different. What they see as important are different. It does not mean that they don't know what they want. There are a lot of things that in their lives that are different. That's why they say that women are very complex. I don't think that may necessarily be the truth, but it is how we've not really studied them, or how little that we were told about them, or how much incomplete the information that they gave us on women is concerned. So if you're vision driven, if you are so much ambitious, you may so much be focused on the dreams in your life, and you may forget that there is somebody in your life who needs your attention as well. So the woman, treat her equally. However you are going to learn that, I don't know. So because if your grandfather had 3 of them, I don't think that it meant that they were equal, because for me equal means that 1:1. So if one man had 3 of them, it means that we really didn't believe that they were equal. That is a fact. I may be wrong, I don't know, but from where I sit and with the little engineering mind that I have, I think that if it's of the same value, if it's 1:1 and 1 is 1 kg 1 kg, then why should one person have 3 of them? And then they tell us that they are equal. I find it difficult to understand. I find it really difficult to understand for even a person who holds an official office in our country to have 2 women, 3 women as wives, and they turn around to come and tell us that we should treat women equally. It's so much difficult for me to understand. I may not have the answer. I'm just saying that if you say that we should treat them equally, then it should cut across everywhere. Why should one man have 3, 4? This is what we grew up with. I will not say that my grandfather was wrong. I wouldn't say that. That's the culture they grew up in. That's the culture they affected us with. Now, if he had 1, he who was a 1 man had 3, 4. Now I'm 1 man, and I happen to have 1. And then they say that we should treat the ones that we have equally, which we should. But the tape that we are running, the things that we saw when we were growing up, don't support the fact that subconsciously we believe that we are equal. Because you saw 1 man with 3, 1 man with 4. You saw this woman who would go to farm, come home, she's tired, but she will still have to go and cook, do a lot of things. And when you saw them meeting and talk about critical issues, the women were not part of that. I think what encouraged me when I was growing up is whenever I saw the Queen Mothers, I think that was a good thing, that they were part of the decision making. To what extent, I don't know, but that was the fact that when the chief was to be made, the Queen Mother had a say was a good thing from the culture. But I think that should have also affected a lot of things, because until you treat the women equally, until you treat the women as full human beings, there's a lot that we may not be able to do and develop as a family, as a community, as a country. Her opinion must matter. Her feelings should be paid attention to. There should be constant compliment. Now, these are the things that we didn't know. My generation, where I grew up, what I knew, what I saw my father do, what I saw my grandparents do, it's tough. I had to relearn everything. We had to relearn. Even in the modern day churches, you see how they still treat the women. I've always asked, why is, the Catholic Church, why don't they have women fathers? I don't know. Or women mothers? I don't know. So all these things, in a way, affect our mind. And then you have a woman in your life, and they say that you have to treat her equally, which is a must. Because she was in the mother's womb as you are, 9 months. Same human being. So I think that women were made with a lot of information at the point of birth. I think so. I think their intelligence is way ahead of men. I think so. I think that there's a lot that they don't have to just read to find out. There's a lot that they can easily find out within themselves. Now, because society has made us to just sit on them, it's tough for you to even learn how to pay attention to those. A man must take the risk, and a woman must help the man to take the danger and the risk. But women can see danger way ahead before us. They can see danger way before us. You can save yourself a lot if you start to develop yourself to pay attention to the woman, to prioritize her opinion, what she has to say, because there's a lot she can tell you. But if you didn't grow up with that kind of skill, it's difficult. Let's face it. It's difficult. If you're fortunate that your grandfather had one, and your father had one, probably you're a bit more subconsciously mature as to how you can understand what a woman has to say. But if you grew up in a patriarchal kind of family, you have to learn. And that's why you can even see boys now, boys who have married, they still want side, girlfriends. Why? Because they don't think that they are. Hey God. So respect her. Don't make life that much tense for her. And it does not mean that you are weak. It only means that you are dealing with another human being with different kind of physiological makeup, different kind of interests. The things that are important to her may not necessarily be the things that are important to you. They may not. It will not mean that what is important to her is inferior. No. It may not mean that. But they told us. They didn't tell us that what is important to her is different from what is important to us. So the jokes and the fun that you have to have with her, with your daughter. You cannot treat your daughter as the way you treat your son, because she's a woman. The way she will say her things, the things that will be important to her will be so much different from the things that will be important to your son, if you happen to have them. Now, if you don't pay attention to those, you will think that you are just building a business. You're happy. So once the business is successful, everybody should be happy with you. What is important to the woman may not necessarily be the fact that your business is so much successful, if you act as if she doesn't exist. The words that we use, if you criticize her, they stay with her forever. If you're very harsh, they stay with her forever. These are the things that they should have told us, that this kind of woman is different. But they didn't. So we grew up relating with our sisters and our mothers and our women friends as if they were men. We relate to them as if they are men, but they are not men. What gets their attention is different. And the worst of it is that the thing that we grew up with makes us, or they make us to even think that this one, you can put 4 of them together. And so if you look at her body, it's not that strong. Yet they were the one carrying the firewood, the water, the cooking. They still do. Go to Makola and see how women are struggling there. Go to where they sell the tomato. Go to the market. And you wonder, where are the men? You can find them. We should be taught, or we should have been taught to see that they are special and they are unique. And so their aspirations are different. They are delicate, they are complex, and they process information differently. They need our attention constantly. It means a lot to them. Even if you are in the middle of difficulties and problems and everything, you still cannot gloss over here. And this is difficult if you did not grow up in that kind of environment where they prioritize the women. They gave them attention. If they shut them down, if they shut them up, they told them to shut up, and you saw all those. When you are in difficulty and when you are under pressure and she starts to talk, you shut her up. You will not pay attention because you were not given that tool. Yet that attention that attention that you give her is a wealth to the woman. That priority, the seeking of her opinion, being present, acknowledging her wisdom, her insight, as sound as yours, but they come in different form. Accepting the fact that she makes contribution and she has a strength, she has a gift that may entirely be different from yours as a man. Acknowledging her uniqueness and the contributions that she makes to society and to the family. That's why they say that women empowerment. They tell us, it's on the radio everywhere. We should not overlook them because women have endured a lot in this world. They've been treated like they were second-class citizens. And so some of the young girls have really grown up to believe that they cannot do anything themselves until a man comes in. I don't think so. It's just a wrong information. She as qualified as you. She is a full human being as you. I wouldn't want my daughter to be treated as a second-class citizen. No. Then we should send them to second-class school. But they went to the same school as we did. We're in the same school, we read the same courses. Then when you marry them, all of a sudden you are angry. You become hysterical over little things. You react like that because the information they gave you on the women was weak. So you think that you are the man. That's wrong. That's why successes, if you look at the societies that have achieved a lot, they started to achieve a lot when they started to prioritize the women, when they saw them as delicate and special, when they started to treat them with respect, when they started to cherish the women. The societies that are poor and still struggling have no respect for the women. They have no respect and appreciation, acceptance of the women. So you go somewhere and the boy who's 3 years, 4 years thinks that he is better than the grandmother who is 75 years because he's a man. That society will still struggle. That society will be poor and dejected. But the society or the family that starts to see the importance of the woman and appreciates the woman and acknowledges the woman and prioritizes the woman, that society begins to grow. The same with families. If a family starts to appreciate the women and take care of them differently, they grow. They grow. Now, how do you do that when you come from the same kind of background that I came from? When you saw your mother's side, the women were 4 wives, and you saw your father's side, the same. You saw any boy, the man did not even have money, but he had 3 wives. That obviously meant that they did not treat the women equally. I may be wrong as an argument, but I'm just saying that if one man can take 3, it seems to me that there is not that much equality in treatment. And so you see the guys who are the parliament trying to tell us that we should treat the women equally, but some of them have married 2, 3. I try to understand that, and they don't make a lot of sense to me. Because if you are saying that women should be treated fairly, then they should be treated fairly across board. And so if you have 3, 4, then they will use religion as an alibi. That should not work with us. Because you hold a public office. The office that you're holding, there is a constitution. And that constitution should work across board. And so if you say that women should be treated equally, which it must be, it should not even be law, it should just be natural that we are all humans. But then why are you taking 3-4? Why are you taking 3-4 and you tell us that we should be treated equally? That it means that you have gone against it yourself. So you should live like that. And now, if you have 2-3-4, how would you train your son to respect the woman, the intelligence of the woman, to prioritize the woman? How? And said, oh, if you have money, it means that you can do it. No, it's not like that. It's not. If the woman was trained well and taught well, this is not westernization. I wouldn't say it's westernization, because I wouldn't want my daughter to be second or fourth. It should be priority, and attention should be given to them. Now, the men behave differently because the information is little, is weak. And so when a woman, some of them, some people, even when they work somewhere and the boss is a woman, their attention and the respect they give to the men, the women struggle to get the same kind of attention because he thinks that he's a man. What did you do to become a man? Were you responsible to become a man? No. If you're a man and you see the woman, the way you treat the woman, how you cherish the woman, how comfortable the woman feels in your presence, that shows that you're a man. It's not the muzzle, it's not the shouting, it's not the beating. If you stretch your hand to beat a woman, how can you be a man? How can you be a man? Now, all this, they should have told us. So now they say that we live in a modern society. But we're still running with a lot of old information, let's face it. We just say that we live in a modern society, but we did not even create the modern society that we say. It was thrust on us. It was pushed on us. And we still, intrinsically, very much driven by the old culture, which tries to see the woman as some kind of, second class kind of humans. So when the woman questions you, you become offended. When the woman, gives an input, you try to, rethink to see if it's right. It shouldn't be so. So treat the woman, give her a priority. If it's a daughter, know that she's different. They even say that you don't have to even beat them, which I think is true. Maybe you can beat your son, but the woman should not be beaten. I think so, because her emotions are different. The way she will react is different. The body, the skin is soft. Why should you beat her? She was wired and structured to carry human life. So her whole system is different. Her brain is wired differently. Her emotions are wired differently. Her body, the heart is different from the man, the kid. Those things, they are wired differently to carry human being in it. So you cannot treat a woman as you treat a man. The best you can do is give her a priority. Pay attention to her. So it's not just your wife, your sisters. They should have told us that. Our mothers should be treated so specially. Our classmates were women. They should have told us to take care of them specially. Yeah, they didn't. So we're fighting with them. We're boxing them as if they were men. But they should have told us to prioritize them. And then we could carry that into the family setting. Then we could carry that into the society. Then we could carry that into everywhere. Because any society which is doing well, that society has learned how to prioritize the woman. Any family which is doing well has learned to treasure the woman. Now, if you didn't grow up with that, it's tough. So you make a lot of mistakes. Some of them will even think that is a weakness for you to treasure the woman, for you to seek the thoughts of the woman, for you to acknowledge the input of the woman, for you to appreciate the woman, for you to compliment her. Some cultures on our continent see that as a weakness. That's why they are poor. So treat her equally. Prioritize her. Seek their opinion. They know so much. I think that they know so much more than the men do. They may not be able to say it as the way we want to hear, but the rate at which they process information and the rate at which they're able to separate the wrong from the good is faster than the way we do as men. They should have told us that. Their feelings are hypersensitive. They can get signals that sharp, which we can use. Now, if you prioritize her, you will dress well for her. You will think of her. You will let her know that you think of her. You remember her. Even in the middle of the business that you're doing, you try to call her. The problem with us as Africans, I don't know if it's a problem, but we tend to think that some of these things are Western. And so the African has his culture, or the Africans have their culture, and the Western people have their culture. But if anything gives value to human beings, it should be something that cuts across. It's not necessarily somebody's culture, just human culture, for you to prioritize the human being, especially the woman, because you know that she's made differently. Woman should not be beaten, sir. It's a principle. Or do you think that the woman should not be beaten, or as a matter of principle, a woman should never be beaten? I think that a woman should not be beaten, sir. I think so. A woman should not be beaten. She could be talked to. She could be talked to. Because her body mass is different. She's soft. You can beat the man. But beating the woman is dangerous. She was made to carry a human being. I think the best we can do is probably talk to her. Talk to her. But, you know, when we were growing up, we just tried to be the same. We just tried to be the same. So I never thought that the woman was different. We were trying to beat them in the class. Mathematics, physics, chemistry. So when they tell us to go and read, we read together. When they tell us to, you know, go and carry the chair, anyway, sometimes they will say that the boys go. But it should have stayed with us to know that the woman is different. I think so. The woman is if you're going to beat the woman as you beat the man, then where's the separation? There should be another way of, you know. I think they're just different. As to how you punish them, I don't know, but I don't think that the beating a woman is on the table. It should not be on the table. As a matter of beating another human being should not be on the table. But if you have to beat somebody, maybe the man should be should be, not the woman. I think. And so now they say that we live in a modern society. But then the trainings that we had, they make us struggle to live in this so-called modern society. So if you went to the church that some people went to, if the woman didn't carry something on her hair, they will send her back to go and carry that. I don't know what is wrong with the woman's hair, you know. And so my grandmother, when she's praying and she's not covered her hair, she won't pray. So subconsciously, there's a lot of barriers that we have placed in front of the woman, and we carry that into even the family as well. So you see, the man wants to live like God. It's tough, and we all have to just learn how to give proper attention and try to correct a lot of them and treasure them, because the way they see things, the things that are important to them, are largely different from the things that are important to the men. But the man, if he was not trained, he will never be aware. He will never know. He will never know. If my father never sat me down to teach me about women, and he went to church, they said that the woman should be submissive. So what kind of information they gave us, we don't know. And then you come home, and this woman is intelligent. She's gone to school, and all your family, all the formulas that you know will not work because you are ill-equipped. You would have to possibly take a lot of the information and start to see what works. But you can save yourself a lot of troubles if you start to prioritize the woman, if you start to appreciate her, if you start to acknowledge her, if you start to accept her as full woman with the right information and a lot of contributions to make. If you happen to grow with that, then the frustrations at home will come down. They'll come down. Especially the words that we use when we are angry. The words that we use. If things don't work, we may not even blame ourselves. We just say that it's you. And the words that you use, they never forget them. So you might as well use the ones that are proper. So that at least if they have to remember them, they remember the ones that are proper. And they say that, I know a friend that I had, his thought on women. It's appalling. What about? What do you know? Madie. These are the things that we grew up with. So okay, Marie. Yeah, it should not be on the table, I think. My stuff, because they beat us in the classroom, they beat all of us, they beat both of us. And they say that, Spurgeon they wrote something, they quote the scriptures. So they beat them, they destroy them. It stays with them forever. The African culture is male chauvinistic. The African culture gives a lot of priority to the men. And that has affected our women. If a woman is around 30, 45, 40, and if she's not married, look at the kind of pressure that they have to deal with. What's the point? There's no sense in it. But if she wants to marry, she's a human being. If she wants to marry, she should know that I want to marry. Why should the whole family be your biological clock? And when they go to church, my God, they talk to them all the women, the only thing that they talk about is marriage and family. As if a woman cannot be a scientist, as if a woman cannot be a president, as if a woman cannot be an engineer, as if a woman cannot own businesses, as if a woman cannot lead, conglomerates. We reduce them to just the family, children. And if they marry and they don't have children, that's another war. It's unnecessary. So you see that the male child or the young man is left to go freely. But there are so many impediments that we put in front of the woman. So they go through a lot of pressure. And it's all because of what? Of the fact that we have not studied the woman. We have not studied. We just say that they still continue to say a lot of things, that these ones are ignorant. But because some of these guys are they say that they are leaders in a society, so whatever they say we can't question. But what they are saying is really coming from the culture they grew up in. And in that culture, our grandparents were marrying 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they when they were sending the men to school, they did not even send a lot of the women to school. This is the culture that they grew up in. Now if they want to teach us with this kind of extract, what do you think they are going to tell us? So every now and then you see a lot of analysis, and they end up to become an impediment for the woman. They become struggle. They have to lift themselves beyond this. And woe betide you if you have a very strong-willed woman. If a woman is strong-willed and she's ambitious, she wants to become somebody. Sometimes you go to meetings and you see a young woman who is trying to do something for herself, and it's all men. They want to act as if the woman does not matter. They want to talk to the men. It's because they were given old knowledge and they have not updated it. So they think that the woman should not do something for herself. And a lot of the girls have believed that. And it's not good. So prioritize the woman. If you have a woman in your life, prioritize her. Prioritize her, because what she has to deal with is so much different. Whether it's your mother, whether it's your father, whether it's your daughter, your sister, whether it's your wife, they deal with a lot of things. Can you imagine a human being structured, said that she carries another woman being? Can you imagine that? The things that were put in her. If you ask the medical doctors, they will tell you all the things that were put in the woman, the way she has to run her things, the way she has to process information, the way she has to care for some things, just because she was built to carry life. If we are world apart, there's a lot that we don't understand about them. Now, because we were not told, we just assume that they are just as human as we are, but they are that much delicate. They are that much delicate. So appreciate her, accept her, acknowledge her, the one in your life, the woman. If it's your mother, if it's your sister, if it's your wife, learn that they should have told you. They didn't tell you, because we can be so much vision driven, so much focus on the end results, that we tend to forget about those who so matter, and the woman is part of it. So one of the things that show that you really are paying attention is when you treat them equally, even though you're coming from a background that subconsciously may have programmed you not to see them as if they are equal, but they are, and her opinion should matter. So if you brush her off, what you're doing is that you're not paying attention, you're not prioritizing her. Now, how do you continue to, because it's tough, let's face it. I don't think there's any man, especially from here, who has mastered that. Now you have to listen to her. And in some cultures, even if the man listens to the wife, it means that the woman has done some medicine to the man. Her feelings matter. You compliment her, the things that she does well. Your words mean a lot. If your mother does something and you say that you have done fantastically well, you took care of this, you don't know how much they mean to her. If your daughter does something that is that much, you do the same. If your wife does something that much, you learn to say it. They mean so much to them, because they are wired that way. They are delicate. They are delicate. They mean. So the men, we've been trained not with that much information. That's why the women irritate us, because we were not. If they are trainers, we will be that much comfortable trying to accept them as humans, as full humans as they are. We will be able to, appreciate them and not compete with them. We don't compete with women. You can compete with men if you want, but if it's a woman, no, you don't compete with them. And you learn how not to use harsh words, because words mean a lot to them. That's why when the boys want to take, the boys, when they want to get a girlfriend, you see the words that they polish, because the words mean so much to them. And so if you were ignorant, so you just say anything. But as you grow, you have to know that the words you say mean a lot to them. And so you want to use right words. You want to use words that are nice, that are encouraging, that validate them, that affirm them, that build their confidence. Those are the words that you want to use, not the ones that destroy. Just talk to them like, use your head. Are you not thinking? Because you're angry. Now you're angry because you have very little information to handle this precious one that you have. So I think they were made with a lot of information. I think so, because they seem to know so much. They see things ahead before we even see that they will come. Somebody's talking to you, he's lying to you, and then you come home, you talk to your wife, and you say, but the guy was saying this, and you probably didn't even think like that, because that's it. But she hears the same thing and is able to tell you everything, because she's that gifted. But if you grew up in that culture that never gave a lot of attention and priority to women, you think that you're a man. You're not a man. Yes, boy. A man must take risk. So even though they encourage us and everything, you still have to go. Because without you daring, the society will stay. So if you see societies where they don't prioritize the woman, the societies don't go that far. You don't treat the woman fairly. You don't treasure the woman. The woman must be treasured. And you can save yourself a lot of trouble if you practice this. They say that marriage is difficult. Marriage is difficult. Marriage is difficult because you are ill-equipped. You didn't pay attention to the woman. If you start to pay attention to the woman and what is important to them, because what is important to them really is not what is important to men. Those are facts. You know, what means so much to a woman will not mean so much to you. But it does not mean that what means that much to them or to her is inferior. No, just difference. It's different board game. You know, what is important to you is different from what is important to her. So they were born to be cherished. They were born to be loved. They are delicate. It's a fact. They're delicate. They are treasure, if you know. When you are sick, or when you were a child and you were sick, did you see how your mother pay attention? That's the same way that they want us to do for them. They pay attention. But if you're not taught, you think that you're a man. So respect her. Don't create tension. They don't survive in tension. That's why they don't like suspense. If you don't know, they don't like suspense. Do you see the films that they kill a lot of people? Women don't like the things that a lot of suspense and adventure. They don't like. So they don't survive well in an environment where there is a lot of tension and a lot of fighting and a lot of disagreement. They don't like that. Women don't like. It's not just part of them, because they react quickly to those. And if you can handle that, if you're a man, you try to create a lot of fun and a lot of jokes. That's it. That's why when you were in school, the boys were creating a lot of fun and jokes. You see the women follow them. and those of us who were very serious with books, no woman wanted to see your face. Why? Because you are not fun to be with. You're too serious for life. And they don't want that. So create the fun. Create the jokes. Just let them say that you can be vulnerable and you have some kind of weakness as well. And don't hide them. Let them see the things that you can also be vulnerable at, because it means a lot to them. You know, so don't use harsh words and dress well and let them know that they mean much to you. You know, knowledge is water. Knowledge is water. It flows. It's life. If you don't know it, then you can't do it. Things become difficult. But once you get to know it, you can practice them. And you study them. Read books about them. You cannot carry your grandfather's information on women to marry a modern day woman, I tell you. And it's not westernization. Because these women don't want to be third wives and second wives. That's the fact. They want you and want you alone. You can't even take girlfriend. It's not because you go to church, they won't sit down. They're well informed. They have their money. Why should you be disturbed that a woman has money? You should have money. One of the things that you would not want to understand is that you should understand is that a woman wants to be in charge of her own life. If you don't know her own finances, she wants to make sure that her life has some meaning. So you cannot sit on her and think that she'll follow you forever. A point will come that she'll say that, no, this guy, I've wasted all my life with you. I had nothing. So she wants to be in charge of her life, of her finances, of her destiny. You can't box her and think that she will stay with you. Not the ones that we have now. Not the ones who have been to school. Not the professional ones. No. Even though they may want you to take care of them, they still want some meaning for their lives. So you would want to help with the vision that she has for her life. You know, not just a cook in the kitchen. No, or the one carrying water when we were children, or going to the farm with the baby at the back when the man is just carrying the cutlass. That's what we saw. And we have unconsciously carried that into our homes, and it does not work. If anything, it should be the other way around. You cherish her. You should be the one carrying the baby. You should be the one carrying the water, because she was not meant to do that. So if we had been taught that women were unique and precious and delicate, we probably would do better now. So it's information. Once you have them and you want to practice them, even if you get wrong, you can get back up. You get wrong, you can. Nobody perfects it. It's not a perfect word, but the moment you start to know some things, you can practice them. So your daughter, same. Your sister, your mother, same. If you want to get angry, not at your mother. You want to insult, not at your mother. You can beat your sister. What do I know? And you want to beat your wife? If you don't want her, then let her go. And so they crave for attention. It's part of their personality. It's part of their structure. And the things that you did that are important to them, you continue to do them for them. So you acknowledge their importance, their contribution. You appreciate the fact that they spend time with you, and you accept them as they are, their mistakes and their strength. Okay, and you appreciate their uniqueness. And you do that, I can guarantee you, your family will be better. Our society will be better. And your company will even be better. The women there, if you treasure them like that, if you treat them well, they will perform at the very top level. Because they are doers, they achieve, they get things done. That's why we try not to, the broke man with a wife, the wife still goes to the market to prepare food. How does she do that? How does she do that? Whenever you are always looking for money, your mother has some money somewhere. All the time. Because they are gifted differently. We just didn't know that. And they didn't tell us that. So we didn't see. But if you start to relearn them, it's very simple. You will see the gift that you have in your daughter, in your mother, in your sisters, in your girlfriends, your treasure. So prioritize them. Put them the first. Thank you very much for watching.